How to set goals. This is quite difficult for people who are people pleasers, or what we might call in the modern day empathic people, empaths. Um, Pretty difficult to set a goal to become successful when you're worried about how people will view you. And when you've got a sort of inferiority complex, which I would say is just as damaging as a superiority complex, because it stops humanity moving forward. Basically, it stops human beings from doing what needs to be done in this world. It's pretty dangerous. But it is very common. And it certainly was my experience, and sometimes still is, when I catch myself unawares. But usually these days I'm a little bit better. So, yeah, I really wanted to just talk about setting goals because for a long time I heard about setting goals, and I kind of just didn't equate it with myself. It was what other people do, for me, it was amazing people who I could never possibly be. I didn't even relate to them. I didn't even think of myself. It was really weird. I think I was pretty numb, to be honest with you. And so I never had a goal. And of course, therefore, nothing ever happened that was any good. I just went from sort of wishy-washy feeling to wishy-washy feeling, allowing myself to be dominated by other people who were far more self-aware, or let's even use the word narcissistic, domineering, full of their own sense of power and parasitic, really, using the situation they found themselves in with this really doormatty person who was me, just giving and giving and giving, and not having any boundaries whatsoever. So, how did that change? How did that go from that person to who I am today, without becoming a narcissist? Now, actually, I do think I have pretty strong narcissistic traits, and I've had to develop them for myself. And I actually, I think if you are super duper empathic, over the top empathic, to the point where you just let everybody run you into the ground, I think it's really healthy to develop some forms of narcissism here and there. And I mean, actually, that narcissism probably can't be called narcissism. It's probably just self-esteem, to be honest. But to an empath, it feels like narcissism because you feel guilty for it. How dare you put yourself first? How dare you consider your own boundaries? How dare you wonder about, how well you've slept? Whether, you know what I mean? You just are in such a habit of being self-effacing that to suddenly get to a place where you're actually thinking about your own self and setting your own boundaries can be really scary, and you are greeted by all those people around you who are used to you just doing whatever they ask. You're used to that, and they're used to that. That you really do come up against quite a lot of pushback on it. And it can be scary, and you will then interpret other people's reactions to you in a way that puts you right back to square one again. But no, you mustn't. You have to learn to interpret other people's reactions as their reactions and their business. It's their business how they react to you setting your boundaries, or just saying no to something because you want to do something else which is more important to you, and you have to learn to reinterpret whatever reaction they've given you in a positive way, or at least stop feeding into it, stop interpreting it in a way that means, oh my God, they really hate me. If I'd said this instead, they would actually be happy with me now. And, just calm down, do what you need to do. And this brings me to the point of this voice note, which is, how do you set a goal when you're coming from such a numb, self-effacing, I don't even know how I'm feeling, let alone what I want, place? And you really do have to just take your time to get to the place where you can actually start to sit down with yourself calmly and just go, actually, what is it that I want? What do I want to achieve with my life? And just sit quietly and just breathe. And, sometimes what a really empathic, people-pleasing person can think of is, okay, it's so difficult for me to think about what goal I have for myself. Let me think about a goal I might have for somebody else. If you've got kids, maybe you think about what would you like to do for your kids. That's quite a good way in. If you don't have kids and you do come from like a super poisonous family where it's really difficult to even think like, what do you want for your parents? Because your parents are maybe narcissistic or really, really difficult for you to be with. Maybe think about a charity, as an ultimate goal, setting up some sort of charity. Because I know what it's like to be so empathic that you can't really think of what you want. You're not one of these people who thinks, oh, I want to have this amazing car and I want to have all this status and I want to, be this really important person. Maybe for you, that feels so alien and you're not really extrovert. So you don't really want that. Actually, that feels uncomfortable. But what you would really, really like is to quietly be a person who can be really useful to other people. Maybe be super successful quietly and get some money together quietly and then help some people quietly. And if that resonates for you, then, make it your goal. Now, the other thing I wanted to say is be aware of how precious that goal is to you and don't tell anybody about it. It's an embryonic goal. It's your tiniest little baby. It's like a tiny egg that you've laid in a really small nest right now. So don't go telling people about it. Hold it for yourself. Now, you've got to understand how powerful you are. You are enough. If you're holding this wonderful, precious goal that actually makes you smile on the inside. You really, really, really are enough, and you are powerful enough. Just having it inside you and having it engender these wonderful feelings inside you where it's starting to make you feel good, that's enough. You do not need right now to go to your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, your friend, your whoever, your business. You just don't need to go to other people right now and start telling them all about your dreams, your goals, your ambitions. Don't do it, because, you know, they'll put their filter on it, and their filter might make you feel less than, and it might pour water on your dreams, and you might actually rubbish your dream at that point and go, oh, do you know what? No, I never do this. I'll never do this. So for goodness sake, keep it secret. Keep it secret. Just do it quietly. Don't have to tell anybody. You can tell people that you're busy and that you're working. You don't have to tell people why or what you're doing. You know, you just don't have to. You don't have to. You know, and this is another thing. Somebody who's a real people pleaser might just be unable to have those boundaries. But for goodness sake, it's okay. And if you really want to achieve something in life, you've got to put a boundary around your goal and who you tell about it. And you've got to also learn what to ignore inside yourself when you're thinking about this amazing goal that you're beginning to create for yourself. You've got to ignore your negative voice. You will have a negative voice inside you that says, oh, do you know what, don't bother. It's not going to happen. That's unrealistic. That's just stupid, you know. Who are you to think you're going to do that? You know, you're going to have a negative voice that's going to say that. And you've got to learn that that's just a negative voice. That's just a pre-programmed rabbit hole. That's all it is. And you do not have to go down it. And you certainly don't have to take your precious, new, embryonic, wonderful goal down that rabbit hole with you. You've got to understand that you've got to make another rabbit hole for yourself, and a good one that makes you feel amazing. And, you know, it's so important to realize your own power and take that goal and make it bigger for yourself. But do it calmly, do it without other people being all over it. And focus on it for yourself. Make that time of day when, as you know, you've probably listened to my other videos, you've got to divide up your day and understand when is a good moment for you to focus on this particular goal. But for goodness sake, you've got to do it every day. You've got to hit it every single day with your best self, with your best thoughts, and just let it be there. Let it live. Let it start to create momentum inside you. And let it be a secret. Let it be just yours. You do not have to kill it with other people's feelings about it, or other people's feelings about you and what you're capable of. Just let it be there. Let it be your secret. But let it develop and start to give it form and start to talk to yourself in a way that it's already happened. See yourself having had it already happen, and just start to feel how you feel when you step into that future. And, you know, just it's a wonderful feeling, and just have that inner smile, and just know that that's enough to actually get this goal off the ground. That, and taking action every single day, a small step forward every single day, and you're going to do it. Talk to you tomorrow.